So, a lot of people have been talking, and rightfully so, about the fact that we've got some major injury issues already in the NHL this year. At least in terms of some teams are really getting beat up by them. So let's take a look. I'm getting this from Roto World. Current injuries. I'm not counting day-to-days, which are like John Gibson's considered day-to-day. So for for Ducks fans who are panicked, I wouldn't be because it's day-to-day. The only indefinitely is Ryan Kessler. Other than that, you got Getzlaff, Kache, Lindholm, Vatanen. Lindholm and Vatanen, I believe, are supposed to be back relatively soon. And Ryan Miller, who's day-to-day with something upper body. The Coyotes, Ronta, Connaughton, Cousins, Perlini are all day-to-day. Of course, Chikrin is indefinitely with his knee. And Dave Boland's never going to play hockey again. Boston, they have 3 day-to-days, which are Bacchus, Achari, and Bergeron. Bergeron really hurts. And you can see in the Bruins' early results this year that they really miss him. There's no overstating just how much Boston misses Patrice Bergeron right now. Buffalo, Bogosian, Rodriguez, and Falk. I like Rodriguez. He's been out September 23rd. He was put on the injured list. They're all day-to-day. So we'll see how that works out for them. Carolina, meaning Calgary, has none. Carolina, you got Trevor Van Riemsdyk, who's been out since the 9th with a concussion. I think day-to-day is optimistic. Stempniak is out with his back. He's on the injured list. They're both day-to-day. Chicago, of course, Hossa still shows as being on the injured list. He's never playing again. We know that. Tutu and Roosevelt are day-to-day. I find it weird there's so many that are day-to-day that are not on long-term IR. Columbus, Carlson, Jenner, Vigneault. Jenner hurts. As long as he's out, that's going to hurt Columbus. He was counting on a big bounce-back year this year. Colorado, Tyson Jost hurt his knee. He's considered day-to-day. Boykov's the only one that's indefinitely for Colorado. And A.J. Greer's the other one that's been out with a concussion since the 29th. So Colorado should be in good shape even with the injuries. Dan Hamhuis has been out since the 9th with a groin issue for Dallas. He's the only one out for Dallas. He's day-to-day. He hasn't been hammer really in Dallas. I'd like to see him retire a Canuck, but that's just me, I guess. And I'm saying that because I do think he's coming down to it. I think he's getting close. The Red Wings are missing DeKaiser now, who's day-to-day. Tyler Bertuzzi's listed as 3 to 4 weeks out. Svechnikov's listed as day-to-day. Johan Franzen, he's never coming back. There's another one that's just dead cap space. And for Detroit, it really hasn't negatively affected them, not having Svechnikov in the lineup or Bertuzzi. I don't know if Bertuzzi was going to make the team, though. I have a feeling he was on his way to getting sent down, and then he was kept on the roster instead. Edmonton, Draisaitl, Caggiula, Sekera. Sekera, of course, has been out since he was placed on injured reserve on the 24th, or on the 7th of October. Caggiula is day-to-day. Draisaitl's day-to-day with an eye injury, and we'll see how Edmonton plays without him. That'll be interesting. L.A., Kyle Clifford is week-to-week. Alec Martinez is day-to-day. And Marian Gaborik, who's been out since April 24th, is listed as day-to-day, but, you know, who knows when he's getting back in the lineup. And with the way the Kings have been playing, I don't know if Kings fans necessarily want Gaborik back in the lineup because they've got that speed right now. So who do you pull out of the lineup to get Gaborik in there? The Wild, and this is why this video is being thrown up there. Wild fans are some of them are kind of panicked right now, and I understand why. Nino Niederreiter is showing as week to week. Charlie Coyle is listed as late November, early December. Lower body for Coyle. Niederreiter has an ankle problem, and Marcus Foligno face injury, day to day. That normally involves just wearing a cage and coming back. Granlund's day-to-day with a groin. Parise's day-to-day with undisclosed. Sometimes that can mean a concussion if it's undisclosed. Um, Parisi and Granlund are supposed to be back relatively quick here. In terms of what Minnesota does with these guys on the injured reserve, they can call guys up on an emergency basis, and I don't think there'll be a problem. The benefit for Minnesota is based on last year. We can look and say, okay, these guys have really good depth. The Wild are one of the deepest teams in the league, so there shouldn't be a major problem. At the same time, I really like Coyle a lot, and it sucks for him to see him out for that long. Plekanec, day-to-day with illness. Not a huge loss there if he doesn't play, but with illness, he'll probably play. For Nashville, Yannick Weber, it says upper body. It's a concussion. Day-to-day, I think that's optimistic. Yossi's day-to-day. Ryan Ellis, of course, is out indefinite. And that could start to add up if other defensemen are getting injured, like Yossi and Weber. For the Devils, McLeod is listed as day-to-day, but I read he was 2 to 3 weeks out. So we'll see. But I've read he's 2 to 3 weeks out. Or longer. Brian Boyle is day-to-day. It's funny. They had said before the season that Boyle shouldn't miss any time. That he should be, treatable with drugs for what he has. For the form of leukemia that he has. And he hasn't been in the lineup yet. So that sucks. It's not great for him or for the Devils, but I do wish him a speedy recovery. Absolutely. Travis Zajac isn't expected back till mid-February. Again, sometimes when you lose a player like a Zajac and you can put a young guy in the lineup like Hischier, it speeds up your roster, and you wonder if when these guys get back, if it's going to cause a problem for the team. And it's happened. I've seen it where a team's playing really well. Guy comes back, it's a star player, and you're like, oh, they'll get even better. And then other guys who've been stepping up stop. They're like, okay, well, he's back, so they just go back to their secondary role, and maybe the guy who's coming back from injury isn't quite ready yet to take over. The Islanders, Jordan Eberle, day-to-day. Eberle and Strome being traded for each other has been interesting. Eberle's looked better in New York than Strome has in Edmonton. That is definitely a trade that for right now the Islanders are winning. Cal Clutterbuck's day-to-day. Alan Quinn's day-to-day. Shane Prince won't be back till mid-February, but Prince is basically a 13th forward, fourth-line guy. Jesper Fast for the Rangers is day-to-day. Ottawa. This is a rough list. Clark MacArthur, day-to-day. He's not coming back. Erik Karlsson, day-to-day with his foot. I think that's optimistic. I think he's going to be out for a while longer. I think part of the reason he's been practicing and talking to the press and everything, I think he wants to keep the guys' spirits up. He wants Ottawa to feel good and his teammates to feel better. And he understands it's going to be a while still, but he wants them to still go out there and play and not get down on themselves. No, we're going to suck without Karlsson. Harper and Oduya, and he really wants to get back on the ice as soon as possible. I think he'd play on one foot if he could. Harper and Oduya are sidelined, lower body injuries. Oduya is the number 6 defenseman at this stage in his career. Colin White's out till late October, early November, it says. Injured list as well. It'll be interesting to see what they do when he's healthy. Where do you put him in the lineup? Who do you pull out of the lineup? Philly, Colin McDonald, Anthony Stollers. When Stollers comes back, he's out with a knee injury. He's out indefinitely. He'll be going to the minors. When McDonald's back, he'll be going as well. Ian Cole is sidelined indefinitely, which hurts Pittsburgh. I mean, Pittsburgh's defense, I really liked it in the finals last year and all the way through the playoffs, but it's not particularly deep now. They trade out Pouliot. Now Cole's hurt, and they'd already lost some depth in the offseason. That all starts to add up, and then you start looking at the goaltending issue, and going from Marc-Andre Fleury as a backup to Antti Niemi is a huge downgrade, no matter what way you slice it. Paul Martin is hurt for San Jose, but that's day-to-day. St. Louis, Alexander Steen, Jay Bouwmeester are both supposed to be back relatively soon. Robbie Fabry, unfortunately, is gone for the year. Zach Sanford's indefinite. But for Zach Sanford, he was fringe player as well. Uh, Patrick Berglund, early December. They miss him. But again, when he comes back, I'm not sure who they're going to pull out of the lineup. Tampa Bay Lightning, Cedric Paquette hasn't played since March 9th. Tampa Bay Lightning, of course, Toronto Maple Leafs famously have Joffrey Lupul and Nathan Horton on injured reserve. Joffrey Lupul, of course, is the hernia, and for Nathan Horton, it's his back. I don't think either of them are ever going to play again. I really don't. For the Canucks, Alex Edler, lower body injury day-to-day. Brennan Gaunce, early to mid-November. He's anxious to get back on the ice and play. He's been practicing with the team and feels good about practicing with the team. We'll see what happens. Vegas Golden Knights. Reed Duke, the first Vegas Golden Knight ever, is out till late January to late March with a shoulder injury. So, I mean, it would have been fun to see the kid that was the first one that they'd ever signed playing with the team. It was a long shot to begin with, but now that's rough. That's rough to already be out for that long with a shoulder injury. Clayton Stoner's day-to-day with lower body, but I don't think Vegas is missing Stoner right now. I'm really surprised that they don't just waive Stoner and bring Sipachev up, because it makes a lot more sense than what they're doing. I don't think Clayton Stoner gets grabbed on waivers, and I don't think he has any market value whatsoever. I'm just not understanding. Sipachev would make more sense on that 23-man roster. David Clarkson will never play again. Grabovski probably won't play this season either. And Niskanen is out with a day-to-day injury for the Washington Capitals. And then for Winnipeg, of course, Byfuglien is out. They don't have a status on him. Hendricks is day-to-day. I think it was Byfuglien and Hendricks both together were out fishing. There was a big deal made of it in Vancouver. Paul Maurice shrugged it off. And basically what they said is true. If they're out golfing when they're injured, then that sucks. But if they're injured and they're fishing, you're just sitting in a boat with a fishing reel. Unless it's your shoulder or your arm or some kind of an injury in this area, it's really not going to be a big deal. Sometimes I think people just look for controversy wherever they can find it. And in this case, it was two guys going out fishing and catching a giant sturgeon. The funny part I heard about that was that they took the picture of the giant sturgeon, and John Garrett said right away, I think that's the same sturgeon from every picture because they have to release it back into the water. So this poor fish is probably old and it's probably been caught numerous times and just knows the drill and can't wait to get released. So you guys can let me know what you think about which injury you think is going to hurt teams the most. Is Minnesota going to be hurting for a while? Yeah, probably. But look at what St. Louis has done. I look at what Minnesota has. There's a lot of good young prospects in Minnesota, and this is normally when these guys come up and prove themselves. The storyline we always remember at the end of the year is this guy came in as a rookie and played really well. Very often they've got into the lineup because somebody ahead of them got hurt, and they got a chance to prove themselves as a top six forward. Point in Tampa is an example of that last season, where he got into the lineup, and rather than playing like a rookie, he played like a veteran. And sometimes that's all it takes, and then you've won your spot in the lineup for the following season. So let's see who wins their roster spot in Minnesota for next year. Let me know what you guys think. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through, and thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.